Good evening, dear friends and honored guests. Let me ask you a simple but powerful question. If living to 85 is possible, why do so many never make it there? You see, reaching that milestone is not a fantasy, it's a very real possibility, and yet most don't. Why? Because longevity isn't just about the years we live, it's about the daily choices we make, and the silent mistakes we don't. A leaf falls from the tree, not because it simply gets old, but because the time has come when the bond to the branch loosens. In the same way, the body does not break suddenly. It sends signals, subtle, soft, often mistaken for the wind of ordinary aging. But those whispers, if heard with awareness, could mean the difference between decline and renewal. The mistake most often made by those who age is not in what they do but in what they ignore. The body is always speaking. It speaks in fatigue, after climbing stairs, in shortness of breath while tying shoes, in a strange tightness after meals, in a heartbeat that dances out of rhythm for no reason. Yet, how many brush these signs aside with the phrase, "It's just age"? That simple phrase, repeated often, builds a quiet agreement with deterioration. But deterioration is not inevitable. It is, many times, preventable if one listens closely. A master once told his disciple, "Before the arrow pierces your skin, the air warns you." But the disciple, concerned only with the sharpness of the arrow, never trained to hear the wind. So he suffered often. Seniors are taught to pay attention to blood pressure, sugar levels, cholesterol, and rightly so. But health is not only in numbers, it is in awareness. Awareness of shifts, patterns, and how the body feels not just during crisis but in stillness. In ancient teachings, the idea of prevention was not passive. It was a daily practice of observing the self as one might observe the sky. If the clouds gather and the winds shift, the wise person does not wait for the storm to crash the roof. He mends it first. Likewise, the elders who thrive are not those who fear illness, but those who study wellness, who learn to notice a dry throat in the morning, a foggy mind after lunch, an uneasy sleep after arguments. Too often, the reliance on modern healthcare has created a distance from inner sensitivity. A person waits for the doctor to interpret the body's signs, rather than cultivating a relationship with the body itself. But healing begins in the intimate act of paying attention when the fingers tingle or the joints ache. Instead of brushing it aside, ask why. Sit in stillness. Let the body reveal the story. There's an old saying, "A stitch in time saves 9. But what if you don't even see the first tear in the fabric? Then by the time the hole appears, the damage is vast. This is how it is with health. A liver does not fail in a day. Bones do not grow brittle in a week. The heart does not tire overnight. These are results of unnoticed patterns, quietly repeated over years. But the moment one becomes aware, the moment the pattern is seen, the transformation begins. Consider the elder who walks into the clinic only when the pain becomes unbearable. By then, disease has rooted deep. Compare that to the elder who notices when their energy dips slightly after a meal and gently adjusts their diet. One lives in reaction, the other in conscious participation. The first arrives at the gate of illness and surprise. The second walks slowly and wisely in another direction. Even more profound is the emotional component of this awareness. When ignored, emotions press into the body and become symptoms: a clenched jaw from unspoken anger, a tight chest from unresolved grief, a stomach that churns with worry. These too are signs, whispers that ask not for medication, but for recognition. To listen to the body is also to listen to the soul, but listening requires time, and this is where the second hidden mistake appears: isolation. As people age, the circles around them grow quieter, friends pass away, children move far. The calendar, once filled with calls and visits, becomes an empty space of waiting. In that silence, a slow erosion begins. The body needs food, yes, but the heart needs connection. It has been observed that loneliness doesn't only sadden a person, it shortens their life. The reason is simple: humans are not made to live in solitude. Just as the tree thrives best in a forest and not alone on a rock, the elder thrives in community. To speak, to be heard, to laugh, to be touched, all these acts nourish something invisible but essential. A man once lived at the edge of a village. After his wife died, he stopped visiting the tea house. He stopped joining the evening walks. Though he remained physically well, something inside grew still. Months later, his health rapidly declined. The doctor found no clear reason. The medicine did little. But when an old friend began visiting him every morning with a story and a warm drink, something shifted. The man began to rise earlier. He combed his hair. He walked again. Not because of pills, but because of presence. The body responds to human warmth as surely as it does to sunlight. A hand held in silence can sometimes heal more than hours in a hospital bed. The immune system, the brain, even the cells, everything becomes more resilient when a person feels connected. Isolation does not always mean being alone. It means feeling unseen. One can be in a crowded house and still feel invisible. That is why true connection is not just proximity, but attention, listening deeply, asking sincerely, offering space without judgment. But seniors, too, must reach out. The river flows both ways. Waiting silently for the world to notice you is a quiet surrender. Instead, call an old friend. Join a community class. Learn to cook something new and invite others to taste it. Take a walk where others walk. Even one shared smile can shift the direction of a lonely day. There is a wisdom only elders carry, a patience, a lived depth, a gentleness the world desperately needs. But if that wisdom is hidden behind walls of silence, who benefits from it? Just as the flower must open for bees to come, the elder must remain open to being seen, to being part of the dance of life. Health is not simply the absence of disease. It is the presence of balance within and without, a body that is heard, a heart that is held, a mind that is engaged, and a spirit that continues to give and receive. These things are not separate. They are threads in the same garment. To ignore small symptoms is to dismiss the body's wisdom. To embrace isolation is to turn away from the heart's medicine. But to awaken to these truths is to step again onto the path that leads not only to 85 but to meaningful, vibrant living in every moment. Until then, even though we're making, there is an ancient teaching that says, the body becomes what it is, repeatedly fed, and the mind becomes what it is, consistently given to dwell upon. Yet in the later stages of life, when energy becomes more precious and movement more deliberate, many forget this teaching. They eat not to nourish, but to satisfy habit, and they think not to expand, but to relive the past. In both, they begin to age faster than nature intended. Food and thought are alike. Both are fuel, and both can poison when chosen without care. There was once a monk who lived in the mountains. Every day he gathered wild herbs, nuts, and clean water. Visitors would often ask, why go to such trouble? You could eat rice and dried meat like everyone else. He would smile and say, I choose food that gives more life, not just longer life. His skin remained youthful, his eyes sharp, and his body agile even into old age. This was not magic, it was mindfulness. As age advances, the internal fire, the digestive strength weakens. What was once easily processed now takes effort. Foods that brought joy in youth become burdens in age, but many do not adapt. They eat the same portions, the same fried snacks, the same sugar-laden tea, and they wonder why fatigue clings to them, why their joints ache, why sleep becomes uneasy. To eat is not merely to fill the belly, it is to give instruction to every organ. Each bite is a signal. Heavy, oily food tells the heart to struggle. Excess sugar whispers to the pancreas to exhaust itself. Processed meals confuse the gut, disturb the mind, and unsettle the mood. But natural, vibrant foods, fruits, vegetables, grains in their purest form, they speak gently to the body, saying, heal, repair, grow. Yet, nutrition is not only about what to avoid, it is about what is often missing. With age, absorption of key nutrients weakens. Magnesium, calcium, B12, these are no longer abundant, even in a regular diet. But many elders, either out of forgetfulness or a false sense of simplicity, eat too little or eat without balance. They may skip meals, drink tea instead of water, snack on bread instead of preparing a nourishing bowl. And so, silently, their bones hollow, their muscles shrink, their energy dims. Hydration is another quiet mistake. In younger years, thirst derives loudly. But in old age, the body speaks more softly. Many elders confuse thirst for hunger or ignore it completely. A dry mouth is a late sign. Long before that, the blood thickens, the joints dry, the kidneys tire. Just as a plant wilts without visible warning, the human body dehydrates slowly, leading to confusion, imbalance, and weakness. One story tells of an old woman who was always tired. Doctors found no disease. Her heart, lungs, and brain all worked within expected limits, but she barely drank 2 glasses of water a day. Once her granddaughter began bringing her a warm glass every 2 hours, her eyes became brighter, her steps more stable, and her mind clearer. No medicine had done this, only water. Eating with awareness is not a punishment. It is a sacred act. Choosing foods rich in life, drinking water with intention, eating slowly and with gratitude, these are practices that align the body with vitality. Even more important is how one eats, not in haste, not in distraction, but with presence. Chew well, sit upright, eat in silence if needed. The body recognizes when you are present, and it responds. Then there is the matter of thought, of mental activity, of keeping the mind not just alive but awake. A common error among the elderly is to stop challenging the mind. To say, I am too old to learn, is to declare early retirement from growth. But the brain, like muscle, thrives on use. The less it is asked to perform, the less it is able to. Simplicity is good for peace, but it must not be confused with stagnation. There was a craftsman who at the age of 75 began learning a new form of calligraphy. People laughed. Why bother now? They asked. He replied, if I stop learning, I stop living. Within 2 years, his works were displayed beside masters half his age. His memory improved. His mood brightened. His body, once slouched, regained posture. This did not happen by accident. It happened because he gave his mind a reason to expand. Elders often retreat into routine. The same news, the same chair, the same conversations. Familiarity can be comforting, but it can also dull the edges of perception. The brain craves novelty, not chaos, but gentle challenge, a puzzle, a poem, a different route during the morning walk. Even changing the hand with which you brush your teeth awakens dormant connections, languages, music, games, reading, storytelling. These are not just hobbies, they are medicine for the aging mind. Just as a stagnant pond gathers mosquitoes, a stagnant mind invites confusion and forgetfulness, but a flowing river clears itself. A flowing mind stays youthful, alert, and curious. Social learning is especially powerful, discussing ideas with others, debating kindly, sharing insights. These are forms of mental exercise that also nourish the heart. When the mind feels valued, it stays engaged. But when others speak around a senior, not to them, when people assume their opinions are outdated or irrelevant, the mind begins to withdraw. It says, if I am not needed, why remain? A wise person once said, learning never ends until breath does, and even then, perhaps not. Every time a new thought enters, a new connection forms. These connections strengthen memory, focus, and emotional balance. The risk of cognitive diseases rises not simply because of age but because of inactivity. Just as unused tools rust, unused minds fade. The rhythm of nourishment and mental stimulation is a dance. One feeds the body, the other feeds awareness. Together, they become the path to longevity, not just in years, but in quality. A long life without clarity is not a gift, but a clear mind and a steady body that is true longevity. The elders who live well are not those who fear aging. They are the ones who adapt, who listen, who evolve. They recognize that what sustained them at 40 may harm them at 70, and so they change not with bitterness, but with grace. They drink when the body is thirsty, even if the thirst is silent. They eat what brings energy, not just pleasure. They seek out ideas and moments that stretch their mind, even when comfort whispers to stay still. They become students again, learners once more, not of school, but of life. To nourish the body and stimulate the mind is to honor the life that still remains, not by looking back with longing, nor forward with fear, but by standing firmly in the present and asking, what more can I awaken today? So, to every senior listening today, you are not just passing time, you are crafting a legacy. Every meal you choose, every step you take, every call you make, is either helping you reach 85 or quietly taking you away from it. Let us live like every breath counts, because it does. Thank you.